So Craig, in Columbus, how in the world could we have a pandemic and we still have the highest sales the market has ever had, and the inventory is like zero?
Oh yeah, that's an extremely good question. Hi, I'm Craig Buehler with the Powell Buehler Group.
And I'm John Powell as well with the Powell Buehler Group. And we're here today to talk a little bit about real estate. We're hoping to do this every month and kind of give you an idea of what's going on in the marketplace.
Absolutely. We're going to educate, inform, and we're going to have a little fun with real estate.
So what are we going to do today? What are we going to talk about, Craig?
Today, let's talk a little bit about the market last year. Tell me how it did.
Oh, okay. Well, the market was crazy last year, even with the pandemic, which created a lot of interesting issues in the marketplace. And some markets, like in Pennsylvania, for example, they shut down real estate completely. Yeah. But in our market, you're not going to believe this, but we sold over 33,000 homes last year, which was the most ever in the Central Ohio market. And there are some reasons for that. A couple of things happened. Number one, demand is high for a reason. And I want to talk a little bit about that in a minute. But the interest rates were at 2.7%. Today, they're at 2.7%, below 3%. And that's as low as interest rates has ever been.
Oof.
So
that's low.
That's really low. So, and the average price is up.
Yeah, interest rates are powerful. What was your first interest rate?
Well, I'll tell you what, 1987, just looking back, 13.46 was what it was running at.
Wait a minute. What was your interest rate?
Well, yeah, that's a good one. My interest rate in 1987. I tell you what, we'd really like to know what your interest rate was when you purchased a home over the years. Comment below if you would. Can you imagine that? And that's a little crazy. And
that's
of course,
wild.
Let's move forward really fast. In 2008, recall, the market fell apart and it almost stopped. And there was a lot of new regulations and so forth. And there was a couple of years in there after that, 2010, where the younger population or the first-time home buyers could not even buy a home because they couldn't get a loan. And so, having said that, the demand backed up for a few years, and it was quite a demand. Then we hit this 2018 time period where interest rates got lower and the market started to take off. And
absolutely.
We've been on quite the ride.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Interest rates are so powerful. And the other thing you touched on about age of the buyers, being a millennial myself, it's very interesting how many millennials are actually buying in Central Ohio now. So Central Ohio was a top 10 ranked city for millennials to live in. So you got a lot of people moving here. You got a lot of people now that can work virtually. Why would they buy a $500,000 small place in Chicago when they could live and work the same at home in a $200,000 house that's twice the size? So that's a big thing that really brought a lot of buyers into the market. The other thing, I think millennials are finally starting to get their student debt under control a little bit. And so that way, now they can afford those mortgage payments. Then you throw low interest rates on top of it, and it really makes buying a house a little more affordable.
And interestingly enough, we hear this discussion about inventory. There's no inventory. And what does that mean?
The inventory active is still very low, but what's happening is houses are just selling so quick because there's so many buyers that are in the market, because so many people are moving to Columbus. I really think COVID actually is going to be a big player on people moving to Columbus as well. Now you have so many companies that are allowing people to work virtually now that they see it works. And again, that's just a touch point on why would you live in one of those more expensive cities when you can have such a bigger standard of living and costs are much lower in a place like Columbus.
Anyhow, the market's moving quickly. It's a good time to be a seller. The question always is, if I sell though, what am I going to buy? And what we saw last year is a lot of folks that were in the upper age of 50 and up, where they were saying, you know what, I'm going to take a year off. And so that reduced the inventory a bit. But I think this year we're going to see a lot of those homes come back on the market, and there are in future videos we're going to talk about what folks can do if they're empty nesters, what they can do to sell their home at a great price and buy something. And we've got some really interesting suggestions. Yeah, so when we hear all these stories about these homes selling in 3 days and above asking. And when the market was normal, as I've been in the market for a long time, and we call it normal, but I guess today is really normal for us. But when it was normal, we would look at a price and say, well, we probably can get for a little bit less than that. Today, what is people thinking?
When you get in competition with other buyers and there's more people bidding on it, then obviously you have to bid a little bit higher.
Yeah, and so what does that mean? I like to simplify it, and I always tell my buyers and my sellers that the seller's in charge, which means that it kind of gets right to the point. Is that the seller determines a lot of things, the terms, the possession, and a lot of times they're just looking for the best price.
Really, the lower interest rates has such a bigger impact than the price going up $10,000, $20,000. That lower interest rate, especially over the life of the loan, you know, if you speak with the lender, they'll show you those numbers, and it's astronomical. So those lower interest rates are really why it's a good reason to purchase. But very good conversation about the market. I love putting those numbers out there and kind of explaining them so people are comfortable, rather than just kind of what you hear from the media and what's going on. But next week.
Next week.
Next
well,
month.
Here's the thing. That's exactly right. So we're going to be bringing some other folks in to talk, because Craig and I know we probably can't hold the audience very long with these faces.
We're going to bring on HGTV stars finest. Also, my wife, Samantha Buehler. She's a marketing genius. She's got a great eye for design, and she's got some great information that she would love to portray to you.
Yeah, and by the way, she's my daughter. We'd love to talk in detail about the things that possible empty nesters could do, the way the interest rates can be run, what kind of lender you can get. A lot of folks need to take a look at refinancing right now as well, because they could save you hundreds of dollars per month if you can do that. And so we're open to talk to you about all these things. Just got to give us a call.
Absolutely.
So, great talking to you guys today.
And please comment below any questions that you have or topics you'd like us to do on these videos. We're doing this for you, and we want you to be informed, educated, and help answer any questions you have about the real estate industry.
That's great. We'll see you next time.